keep this going.
Cool. And good evening to everybody, all the Yellow Jacket Nation out there. Randy Young along with Bryan Davis, Jamie Majors, and the tech master himself, Kasey Massey, they're running everything as we have SwarmCast number 2 of the 2024 season. We appreciate you guys being here with us. We are going to, of course, it's a later edition because we had the Meet the Yellow Jacket event over at the high school tonight, which was really, really cool. Bryan and I were there. Jamie wasn't able to attend, but it was really, really nice. Kasey was there as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. We are going to talk about the scrimmage game with Lowndes and give you some thoughts on that. We're also going to talk about Coach Rogers, who will be calling us. Who will be calling about 8:30 or so, and we'll get his thoughts as we head into the off week, one of the off weeks for us, as we get this week off and then kick it all off next week. First off, Jamie, you doing good?
I'm doing phenomenal.
Better.
Been
fighting some illness, which it seems like everything right now, every time school year begins, there's a run of stuff. Guaranteed. Yep. Bryan Davis, you good?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Good. Kasey Massey?
I'm good to go.
Other than pouring a blizzard down your audio mixer. And we want to thank Dairy Queen. Yes, indeed. DQ. And we've got the Jamie Majors Blizzard of the Week coming up in just a little while. What is this, Bryan? It's some sort of coffee drink.
I forget what they used to call them.
She said it was a caramel latte.
Okay. And it is fantastic. Usually when you think Dairy Queen, you don't think frozen coffee, but I'm going to tell you,
that's really
good.
It
is worth going to the Dairy Queen to get 2 weeks in a row, and they have not missed yet. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And these are drinkable right now. We don't have to wait for them to thaw out, which is really, really good. And we want to thank Greg Davis and the folks at Dairy Queen for helping us out and being a part of the SwarmCast on Thursday nights and also on the live streams of the football games on Fridays. It was a good night last Friday night. Lowndes County came to the Jackets' nest. Of course, Lowndes County is Lowndes County. They are one of the traditional powers in the state of Georgia. And as good as we did, and again, varsity won 31-3, very solid.
Absolutely.
I do think, Bryan, and Jamie was downtown playing with some band doing something. I don't know what he was doing.
It was fun.
Doing First Friday downtown with the Rock Mob. And wasn't able to come to the game, but has probably heard enough about it, and we'll be able to contribute to the discussion. But I'm going to go to Bryan with this one. I think our fans, of course, everybody walked out of there feeling good, but I think we need to temper the, I don't want to say overexcitement, but Lowndes County is a program in transition.
Yeah.
There is no way around that. Yeah. And you could tell they were using last Friday as a laboratory. Mm-hmm. They were trying stuff to see what might work, what might not work, whereas it felt like we were honing our skills and plays and sets and stuff. It felt like Lowndes, it felt like they were drawing plays up almost on the sidelines and saying, all right, let's go out here and give it a shot and see what happens. They're very unsettled right now.
Yeah, they come in, and we knew that we'd heard some rumblings throughout the offseason as far as the struggles that they've had with not only personnel but schemes. They brought in a new offensive coordinator, and their head coach, who was a former defensive coordinator, now is calling the offensive plays as well. So they got some stuff they're trying to work out. So we knew coming in that they were probably going to be trying to work a lot more things out on their end than our end, so to speak. And we saw evidence of that. We saw them kind of shuffle quarterbacks around. In fact, we thought we were going to see one quarterback, and we wound up seeing him once and then saw another quarterback the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And then you go into their defensive scheme. They run a stack, and so trying to iron some stuff out with there. And then they went from running one style of offense to now trying to run some form of the wing T.
Yeah.
And it was a very
sloppy.
You felt sorry for them because we've been there in the past. A long time ago, we've had to work out some things like that, kind of last-second personnel stuff. You're trying to find out where these guys fit in at.
Yep.
And so when we come in Friday, we know where our guys are supposed to be. The only thing we lack is the experience of the guys you're bringing in.
Yep.
And throughout the night is how it progressed. We really have got some names tonight that we'll talk about that kind of showed out at the guys that we really didn't have circled as far as who we maybe thought were going to show out. And all of a sudden we're talking about guys now that I think we will be talking about all season long because they're finally getting that on-field experience they didn't get last year, not because of anything bad, but just because they had to sit behind the guys that helped win you the state championship.
Yep.
And these young guys now are coming in full swing and getting their on-field experience.
Now, by no means am I saying to our fan base, don't be excited. That's not what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
But just to understand, though, that we were playing a team that just is not where we are program-wise. It's a program in transition. We have been there. Bryan said it. We have been there. That is a painful thing to go through. But anyway, bottom line, our guys played really solid. I thought that the defense looked fantastic. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching on Facebook, share the video on your page. If you're on YouTube, you can copy the link and share it if you want to on any social media that you want. And we'll take your questions, comments. Jason Bryan calling and saying hello from South Mississippi. Yeah, I know he was sitting in the living room watching the game last week on the live stream after he figured out how to get it on his television.
I got you.
But defense looked fantastic, flying to the – I mean, it looked like last year's defense and maybe even a little faster overall.
Yeah.
Offensive line looked solid. Running backs, it's as good a group of running backs as we've ever had. I mean, and that's going back to Joe Burns and Smokey Robinson and – Adam Choice. I mean, just take your pick. I mean, this is
fixing to say we've had some good backfields.
Oh yeah, we've had some pretty doggone good backfields now.
I just don't know if at least from my tenure that I've ever seen one as deep.
That's where I was headed
with talent as we had this year.
Yep.
And I want to make the point too that we've got a lot of players that are playing that are in that sophomore stage,
right?
And those are players that's making a lot of plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think Cam played last week.
Nope.
So
D played very limited because he got hurt and didn't come in the rest of the game.
I think we've been able to build some depth, and that 10th grade class is
huge.
Not only does it have all the numbers, is I think that they've got players just about at every position.
Yeah.
So it's more like that 97 team. They've done a good job of keeping them all together.
Players in the same position.
Yep. Well, we talked about it last week. The biggest paradigm adjustment that for those of you that can't Google it just yet, your viewpoint is that the last two teams that we've had under Coach Rogers have been senior-led teams, senior-dominated teams. This is not going to be one of those teams. Now, don't get me wrong. You've got D. Reddick, who Super 11, AJC, first one we've had since Adam Choice. Fantastic player. Jaden Rubo, who's an all-state player.
Yep.
You're going to have solid leadership there, but the numbers aren't huge.
So we ended up with 3 on defense, right?
Yeah. Yep. Cam, Jaden, and D.
And D. Well, I don't ever remember us having 3 preseason.
Not on defense.
Now we've put a bunch of them at the end of the year on there.
Mm-hmm. But we're going to have to and I think Jamie hit on it. And you could see it last week. The talent is there. The potential for good things are there. These guys have just got to get their wheels up under them. And again, it goes back to me, one single word: confidence. When they get their confidence under them, they'll be solid as a rock.
Absolutely.
Little concerned for a couple of things from last week. The passing game, again, trying to get the timing down more than anything, I think, between Jalen and the new crop of receivers. You could tell there were some timing issues that were still being worked out, but that's to be understood. When you've got every single guy on the field did not play much last year. Now the receivers, it's a brand new group, and your best receiver now is on defense.
I was fixing to say the one you threw to and had the most production coming back as a receiver is he's going to receive balls, but he's going to be going the other way with it.
Yep.
Now, that being said, though, on past Friday, when they connected, and they connected on some pretty passes. And Jamie, you had brought up this guy before we even played, Ethan Rayburg.
Oh,
he looked great.
Mm-hmm.
He does something every day in practice.
Yep.
He's going to make some weird play every day.
To me, he was
to be the best, to try to he's the most effort of any of them that I see.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to take any away from any of them.
Sure.
Yeah, I get you.
Because they all practice hard now, but it just seems like he goes up and makes a play, and then Dunbar will try to make the next one.
And then JB.
Man, it's just we're very lucky.
Well, Rayburg, to me, he was the most pleasant surprise the other night.
Yeah.
I mean, and could have easily been the MVP. If we were giving MVPs out the other night, he could have easily been the MVP. I mean, he looked really, really good. But just a little bit of inconsistency there. And again, that's just timing and experience and reps. And Lowndes was able to get some guys behind our secondary. And again, you got a bunch of new guys back there too. Lowndes had athletes. Yeah. Because you and I talked when they were out on the field, as Pilcher used to say, on the hoof, you were going, okay.
Look out.
Here we go. But our guys handled it very, very well. Loved Jaden Rubo. Rubo's Rubo.
He hadn't missed a step.
He's just so intelligent and has such a knack for the ball and does such a fantastic job being the quarterback down there on that defensive side. He was just very, very impressive. But that defense overall has not missed a step. In fact, again, overall, on the whole, maybe faster, quicker than last year. Amari Stevenson, just remember that name.
Unicorn.
Just remember that name. I'm just telling you. He will be a junior this year. He's a guy who could have, in any other defense last year, been a starter. If he's anywhere else.
Right.
If he's anywhere else, he's playing.
But there's just nowhere for him to get last year. And
I'll say that, but after reading all I've read the last couple of days of Milton, I think
a
they've
little
got
different.
players everywhere too. So,
that's a little different.
And they bring their whole team back.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. Talk about Milton in a little while as well, because that's Class 5A as we are. But overall, I thought the whole thing went very, very well. You can't walk off the field, Jamie, after having beaten Lowndes County 31-3, and feel anything but good.
Yep. Anytime you can beat one of those used to be 7A powers.
Yeah.
You always feel good about where you stand. I remember with Coach Pilcher, there for years. Lowndes came here, we went there, and
slobber knockers.
It was kind of the measuring stick of how summer went, and hey, we won our share of those,
right?
And of course we got beat our share too. But Coach Rogers is a lot like Coach Pilcher. He wants to play good teams before you get to the region slate, so you can find out where you're at, and we're trying to get players in the right positions too, to see how they're going to act. And
well, and the best thing about it is the fact that these young guys that we're talking about right now have plenty of time before we get to that region play, and plenty of opportunities to get that experience that they need
against good teams.
Yeah, and against good athletes in general. And so that's where I think we will know by region exactly where we're at and how much we've developed over that time. And I really think we're going to get better every game, as like you said, Randy, as we build confidence and we just gain experience and really just figure out and build internally that we got it, and we're moving in the right direction.
During the patty camps and the 7-on-7s that we hosted, we had Irwin, we had of course Monroe was there several times. I think Creekside came in. Tift County, Troop. We even went to Moultrie. Well, they said that was a slobber knocker. I mean, but we all know that Moultrie's going to be pretty good this year. But I think that's where the confidence starts.
Right?
Is if you can go out there and you can run around with those guys and hold your own. When you get all your pads on and you get your offensive line and defensive line up there, hey.
Well, one of the things, too, that stood out last week to me, Brian, you got Cam Brooks, who's probably arguably the best defensive end in the junior class in the state of Georgia, possibly the country, did not play. And there was never a time you went, darn, we miss Cam.
Oh, we sure wish we had him.
I mean, that is quite a statement.
And then of course, Dee gets hurt.
Yeah, and And then Jermaine Dennis Jr. steps in, and I mean they rotated around back in the secondary to compensate for DV. And again, you walked off going, we stepped in there and filled that gap.
Right.
I mean, that's what you do. But what a statement, though, to know that you've got 2 all-state players there who weren't able to play because of injury. Cam didn't play at all because of a hamstring issue that he's still working out. And, of course, D hurt his shoulder, and both of them are going to be fine. But you go in there with those 2 guys not playing, and you look the way you look.
Yeah.
That's pretty sporty.
Not to mention as well, you got a couple of offensive linemen that are beat up now, too.
That's right.
Yep.
Again, we want to thank Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen on US 19. Greg Davis and those guys. And I want to shout out to Neil Davis, who was a star receiver for us back in the 90s, wore number 82. Fantastic play against Doherty in 96 whenever Leonard Guyton was hurt. And he had to kind of throw him into the fire. Leonard came in, hobbled in. Remember, he had one leg that I kept saying was broken.
I tell you. I will tell you.
But anyway, Neil, fantastic receiver for us back on those 96 and 97 team or 96 teams. And anyway, Neil, you're
and I'll tell you,
you have not been forgotten.
I wanted to tell you too. I remember Neil making some great catches, and one of the most iconic pictures I think that ever was on the front page of our newspapers when we actually got to play Marist on grass at Brookwood's field up there. And Neil had a great day that day. I mean, those defensive lines that Marist had then were just we had to throw it to loosen them up a little bit. But.
Chris White's pointing out, I said in that game, in that Doherty game, we were being held together with bubble gum and baling wire.
Absolutely.
And it was true. And Leonard, they would put him in the shotgun, and the signal for him to snap the ball was to kick his leg. And I'd say he kicks the broken leg, and they snap him the ball. And he couldn't move, but he would throw the ball, and then we'd put Joe Burns back there and snap it to him, and he'd run it. So
he was limping on one leg and couldn't walk on the other.
Other than that, though, other than that, he was fine.
I think you did that in Cairo one night.
He
too.
sure did.
Wow.
Golly. Anyway, I want to take just a moment before I forget to do this and send our thoughts and prayers out to Papa D, Frank Delaney Jr.'s family. They lost Frank Delaney III. They call him Bull. As Pop said, he won his battle with cancer this past week, and they had the services today. And we want to lift the Delaney family up. There's nobody that is more respected or that I think more of than that bunch. And we, again, just want to lift them up while we got a chance.
Absolutely.
One of the things I want to mention to our fans now before we get into next week, Brian, I was disappointed that only about half of our fans had horns the other night. What's up with that?
Well, they were all at First Friday listening.
That's it. That's where they were.
Here's the deal. I heard this was the excuse on the horn deal because I asked. They didn't want to make such a big statement the first week to get them all thrown out before the season starts. Yeah. So, but I have a feeling that
let me
be rough coming.
Let me explain this because we got about 10 minutes before Coach Rogers is going to call in. The Georgia High School Association rules state in an outdoor event, artificial noisemakers are perfectly legal.
Okay.
And the reason that the horns were, I don't want to say taken up, but a problem at Mercedes-Benz, indoor events, they are not allowed. So there you go. Even though the folks from Woodward had them too, but it's different. It's okay. Turned out fine.
It's all right.
But for outdoor sporting events, they are 100% perfectly legal. Now, my question is this. For folks who don't have one, where can they get one? You guys know?
Amazon.
I think.
There's got to be some local.
There's got to be somebody local.
I believe Garrison Pilcher has had some, if they still have them, for sale.
Okay. So if you folks are watching, anybody watching that teaches at Garrison or knows somebody from Garrison, check and see. Because that's going to be a question next week.
Because I know Inez had said something about them having some horns. And so I believe that they, like I said, I may be totally wrong now, but I know they had some at one point. And it depends on how many they had. I don't know if they sold out yet or not.
So Chris just said be the first 80 people in the gate, and you could get one.
Hey.
Okay. All right. Well, that's just 80 though out of like 8,000. So we can
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
the
80's gonna
question
be
is,
deafening.
Jamie, I got a question for you. Did
All
you
right.
hear the air raid siren downtown?
Not downtown.
Not
I
during
was
them
too
playing.
focused, man.
Yeah, not during them playing. But I know you can hear it downtown. Yeah, and that's something else.
And Jake
I
Smith,
probably
got
could've.
a little excited on a couple touchdowns.
Well,
that
there was
didn't happen.
one spot where they thought it was a touchdown and it wasn't. They fired it off. But I mean,
I don't know if it's because they couldn't hear the sound system or what.
They got to learn. They got to learn. Yeah, and there is. Kenneth Hurst just mentioned that there is a drink cup that's a horn too.
It's called the Loud Cup, I believe.
Yep, and those are online. I don't know that anybody's got those local, but yeah, the air raid horn, the swarm horn. It was a nice addition the other night. Pretty cool, and a good crowd.
It's the one thing that worked.
We
And didn't get hit by lightning.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were going to mention this or not. I was looking over your notes because I didn't want to.
Well, that's from last week, but you're welcome to.
Too fast, but if there's anybody out there that would like to send a little message in on the score, Central played Thomasville today in softball. So
and
volleyball played too.
Volleyball played too.
The superintendent came and sat with us towards the end of the Meet the Jackets, and she said that we were leading 7-1. That's the last I'd heard.
Okay.
I passed the bus when I went and picked Eli up, and they were going nuts. So I figured we won.
Yeah, that's good.
Because they was fixing to pull on campus, and I think they were sitting the show out.
Yeah,
Same thing about the volleyball game. If you guys have got any information on the
And
volleyball
that
game.
volleyball's gotten competitive, hasn't it?
Oh, man.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, something we're going to do next week. We're not going to do it this week. That I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. We're going to do a Yellow Jacket flashback. We did the trivia question thing last year, but what we're going to do this year, I'm going to go back through the history of Yellow Jacket football all the way back to about 92. And we're going to pull out a great moment that has something to do with the week that we're playing.
How about the 89 years?
If we had,
Wow.
we've got some video of some of that stuff.
Oh, videos.
Yeah, we've got some. We've got
I
some.
got you.
9-1, Thomas County Central won. According to Ken Hortman.
Good deal.
Awesome. Good start there for the softball girls. But anyway, next week we will start that, and we are going to look back at the greatest opening game in Thomas County Central history. I'm not going to tell you what it is, and you guys can guess it, but I'm still not going to tell you. But the greatest opening game in Thomas County Central history, one that will live in infamy.
Absolutely.
If you're
Not
a fan of ours, but
well, I can tell you the weirdest moment that I remember, and this has nothing to do with this, I'm sure, because probably from when you're talking, I wasn't even around. But opening kick of when we played Brunswick that year, wasn't that was the very first game of that season, wasn't it?
Yep.
And we got a safety.
No, that was the playoffs.
No, they weren't in our.
It was the open round of the playoffs.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I can remember my first game ever in the booth.
Was that
what happened up in
Griffin?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that'll always be special.
Chester Hightower ran a kickoff back 100 yards,
Really?
and
I lost it.
And Jamie forgot that the headset mic stays on, and started yelling, "To the house! To the house! To the house!"
I thought I was on the field, man. It was.
And then he looked at me and went, I'm sorry.
I
That was
looked
a
up
good
and
moment, though.
everybody in the whole place was like, "Dude, you got to go. You got to go."
That was a good moment. Alan Corbin couldn't be there for some reason, but anyway, that was a good night. That was a good night.
I realized at that point my place was on the grass. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, again, if you're watching online, share the video on your page. Now, I will tell you guys, I know that we have gone long last week, and we normally do, but tonight I got to get out of here about 9 o'clock. This is my 37th wedding anniversary today, and I haven't even seen my wife. Been at work all day.
Well, I won't tell you, Randy.
I would say you could take the Fiero out, but
don't you start that mess.
I'm not even going to start to tell you what my wife would be doing right now.
Oh, no.
There might be stuff in my front yard. When
and not just stuff, his stuff.
Hey, his wife can't get to the through the front door right now.
That's true. I have an old hot water heater and a bunch of air conditioners on my front porch.
Well, that didn't get solved today?
Ken, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out what Ken Hortman's saying. It says 9-1 TCC, and then it says Thomasville.
Is that volleyball? Who did volleyball play today?
I think they were playing Valdosta.
Okay.
Let me tell Coach Rogers because he's about
Chris White. You need to hush.
Yeah, he was around back then, but Coach Rogers will be calling in just a minute or two.
Okay, that'll work.
Yep. And when we get finished talking to Coach Rogers, I've got some preseason rankings.
Yep. That
are interesting to talk about. Of course, it means nothing. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, Ken. Ken was saying that somebody asked who Central was playing. Yeah, we played Thomasville. But bottom line, back to the scrimmage for just a second. Good night for Jalen Johnson. Jalen's Jalen. I mean, he is just as cool as the other side of the pillow, just flat out. Offensive line solid. Running backs really good. Receivers, you can see the potential there. No question about it. Defensive line, hadn't missed a beat. Linebackers look solid. Braylon Gunner looked really good.
Yeah.
38 now. He's very
he's the real deal.
Very physical. Very physical. And then the secondary looked good. I mean, again, we gave up a couple of guys that got behind us, but for the most part, solid through the course of the night. So no complaints.
Awesome. Man, I'm stoked about the chatter we're getting tonight.
Yeah.
Y'all keep throwing it out there.
Yeah, appreciate it. And if you guys got any questions or comments, if you got something you want us to ask.
If you've got a question that you want us to ask Mr. Massey up here, we'll definitely ask him.
Jason Bryan's asking, what year was Rutabaga Gate against Decula? You got me on that one, Jason. I don't remember that.
Was that the year that we kicked like 17 field goals? That's about all we could get close enough to kick.
Yeah, and of course,
I think it was 5. Actually.
Me being me, this is back when we used to do the run-throughs for the cheerleaders. We had a yellow jacket with a big old wooden stake in his hand, and it said, "There's only one way to kill Dacula." But it's not even said Dacula; it's Decula.
I know. I was like, man.
Anyway, yeah, he was about to run a wooden stake right through old Dracula's heart, but it wasn't Dracula; it was Dracula. Anyway,
we even had some garlic on there.
Need holy water, say your prayer, Thomas County, and all that stuff. Golly,
they're sitting over there saying, "What are they doing?" Dracula.
Kenneth Hurst is asking what game Cam should be coming back. I would say the talk sounds like Cairo. I think they're going to hold him out until Cairo at least. Cam tweaked a hamstring, and anybody who knows anything about hamstrings knows that is a very slow healing thing, and the only way it heals is to rest it. That's it. So the good news is he is young and heals a lot fast. Any of us have a hamstring pull, we're probably in the hospital.
I'm done.
I'm just saying.
Yep.
In traction somewhere, but the hope is that he will be back around Cairo time. And same thing for D. I don't know that you'll see either one of them next week with the Monroe game, but that's fine. Again, it gives those other guys a chance to get experience.
But there's a lot of different ways now that they can treat a hamstring and kind of get it on that. Sometimes they're just nagging, and they're going to be with you for the
like
the
AJ.
whole year. Like AJ, he every time he got ready to go and he'd have a great week of practice. You can never do what you're going to do that first time you touch the ball on a Friday night.
Yep.
You're going to run a little different, so he'd always tweak it.
Hey, Justin, you hear me? Let's see.
Kasey's trying to get Coach Rogers on for us. He just called in, so the tech master himself.
I want to ask him if he's seen that cartoon that Talk That Talk put out there on
that video
about the butt whoopings.
Oh,
you hear us,
Free butt
Justin?
whoopings.
Coach Rogers. I don't think he's getting us there, Kasey.
Uh-oh. I can get him on speakerphone, but
Yes, Greg, Kasey Massey did eat that other lizard. And Ryan will get Coach, you there?
weird. It don't want to work today.
Greg, I hope we took care of the Neil situation, buddy.
Hey, something was going
I
on.
was on speakerphone, so we'll just do it.
that's
that
fine.
way.
Yeah.
Coach, you got us? Kasey, I don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah, well, hold on. Go for it. Can y'all hear?
Coach, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. You're a little in the distance, but I got it.
Yeah, my tech master guy, He spilled half a blizzard.
Called him too much at Meet the Jackets tonight.
I was going to say, you complimented. That's the darn truth.
He folded up like a bologna sandwich.
You know how it is. You start giving compliments.
Yeah.
It goes downhill from there.
And doggone Dairy Queen sent him a blizzard, and he spilled half of it in his darn audio mixer. That might have something to do with it, too. Good gracious. All right, he's going to try. Hold on one second, Coach.
I'll try and turn the cable around. Got anything, Justin? Hey, you hear us?
Coach, can you hear us?
All right, we're going to
All right.
All right, that's fine. Coach, tell us your impressions on what we did last Friday night.
Well, I thought it was great to see the guys, first time out there under lights and kind of in front of the crowd, kind of being able to handle their emotions and stuff. Now, obviously, getting off to a fast start and getting 2 quick scores, really settles you down. Anytime you play from the front, that's always, it's such a big benefit there. And so offensively, I really liked our pace. I thought we snapped the ball fast, had good pace. Jalen looked good, kind of being the commander of that offense. And the running backs looked really good, getting some good runs, and you had some big throws in there. Defensively, I thought we looked fast. I just thought our team speed as the 11 guys on defense really swarming around, getting to the ball. I thought that was one of the things that really jumped out.
Did anybody step up that you might not have expected to surprise you?
I thought tight end Gary Pringle, did an admirable job. I mean,
Yep.
It's a tough deal.
Yep.
I mean, I thought he got some things going. He's got obviously a lot to improve, but I thought he really fought hard, really competed really well. So I was really proud of him. Just really coming into his very first varsity start as a 14-year-old freshman. I mean, I thought that was pretty good. I mean, really good, for what he did there. I thought Trayvon Pringle, hey, let's talk about both the Pringle boys. Huh?
Yep.
How about that? Trayvon, I thought, did a really good job in his first game at the nickel.
Yep.
He really set up. They tried to get some bubbles and some things out in grass to the field, and Pringle did a great job of setting edges and making a lot of tackles right there in it. Rubo looked like Rubo. I mean, just an unbelievable linebacker and did really well there.
I thought Cam Simon looked pretty good, too.
No, Cam, he has been working really hard. He's a long DN. He's real rangy, and he's had a great offseason. So, no, I'm with you. He did look very consistent.
Yep. And, Coach, running backs, that's not going to be an issue, it doesn't look like.
No, that's the deepest room on the team. I mean, you got 4 running backs that I feel really good about. In fact, we were talking in staff meeting, and I made the comment, like, if I didn't look at the number, I didn't really know what back was in.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think there was no fall off.
Yep.
Nothing showed up. And so if you didn't go look at the number to see who it was, you didn't even notice that a different back was in.
I got to tell you, one of our old fans asked if we were going to draw up any veer plays.
So what now?
They asked if we were going to run any plays right out of the veer with all those guys.
Yeah. We may go some 2-back though. I don't know if I'm gonna be hitting the veer yet. But we are. I mean, it's funny you say that. I mean, just because it's so stable, I think there's times we need to have 2 backs on the field to really get your best 11 out there on the field at times.
Right.
And so we'll do some things offensively to kind of showcase that. We'll to kind of install in some of those things this week, in fact. And that's the great thing about high school football. It usually takes a little while to kind of let one side of the ball, offense or defense, evolve to what your talent is that year.
Right.
Because you better be able to adjust to the talent you have for that year and build around their strengths.
Yep, no doubt.
And backs will be a strength.
You guys got any questions? Anything for Coach?
Coach, this time of year, we always like to talk about what we can do as fans outside of Friday nights for the football team. Anything y'all are needing, waters or anything like that fans could bring?
Yeah,
Snacks?
Yeah, we're good on waters, man, but they sports drinks, Gatorades, anything like that. It's going to have that electrolyte and sugar in it. We'll take as much as you can freaking donate. And then snacks, granola bars, fruit snacks, things like just getting back in some sugar and lost calories. I mean, August is tough. August is tough for everybody, and it doesn't change. And this year, we got 3 games that's got August dates on it. I mean, you're going to play, Monroe, Cairo, Florida High. All them jokers going to have 8 as the month. So you just got to battle through this month, and it's tough. And so making sure we hydrate. So anything like that, we can go through that. We go through it pretty quick when you got 161 kids out there working.
Where can they drop snacks off, Coach?
They can drop them off at school. They can come up to the front office, drop them off there. You can reach out to me. We can arrange picking it up in the back. I mean, you got snacks to drop off, baby, we'll find you.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach, let me ask you this. We had a huge rain last Friday before the game. The field looked like it held up pretty well.
It did, and the field looked amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Jake and Matt Dukes and their staffs have done an unbelievable job on that field, and it looked amazing. It did the best it could.
Yep.
I mean, we got rain Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It didn't rain Thursday. It's the only day. I walked that field at 8:30 in flip-flops Friday morning, and it was good. It was like I even remember calling, Matt and some of the coaches and telling them, like, man, feels good, man. We're going to be great. And then everybody here knows what happened on Friday at lunch. I mean, we got water poured out of a pitcher on us.
Yep.
And it just flooded the field. But I'm with you. I tell you, it's going to be hard for any field to hold up to that natural surface. I thought it held up decent. The visitor side hashes is where it took the biggest beating at. The home side hashes, not so much, but the visitor side hashes took the biggest beating. But there's no doubt, with the crew that we got, they'll have that thing ready to rock and roll against Monroe.
Absolutely. Coach, real quick, then I'll let you go. Give us an injury update. How's D and Cam doing?
Yeah, they're doing good. I mean, they're doing good. D's battling that nagging shoulder, and so he's going through the protocol right now, and he'll be back. It's no different than what you guys saw against Lee County last year.
Yeah.
So it's the exact same thing that happened in the league game. And so, he'll rehab that thing, and as it gets tighter and tighter, he'll make his return. Cam's battling a little bit of a hamstring issue now, but looks really good. Had a good rehab session this morning, in fact, and he is chomping at the bit. Bless his heart. He came off of one and got a different one. But part of that also tells you what kind of character he is, and the fact that he practices in such a manner, to exert that, and so that's why he's so good, because he knows how to practice. And so we got to kind of all learn how to practice like that. But we all beat up a little bit. We got some nagging things. We got an O-lineman that we lost that before. Well, he didn't even play against Lowndes. He got hurt like on the Tuesday before Lowndes in the gym, because we had that rain and had to go in the gym, and just a freak deal. And he's gonna have to have surgery. And then we've got some nagging things. Some aches and breaks that we're just taking care of right now, but we should be good on those by Monday. It's football, so you're always going to have a little bit.
All right, Coach. Hey, thanks for calling in, man, and we will get with you next week and get ready for Monroe.
Heck yeah, man. Thank y'all, and can't wait to see everybody next Friday night. You better go on, write it in pen. Don't write it in pencil. We'll be in the Jacket Nest next Friday night, and make sure you go ahead and have you a horn ready to roll, man. And we want these kids to know that last year wasn't no fluke. Best fans in the nation, and make sure you prove that next Friday night. Absolutely,
Coach. Thanks, man. Appreciate you calling, as always.
All right, brother.
Take care. Always good to talk to him. And
absolutely,
you can tell he's excited. And that, to me, that's one of the things that has stood out about all of the interviews and things that I've read and listened to from Coach in the all season. Even though we've only got 5 guys back, really, that were starters last year, 4 on defense and 1 on offense now. There's been kind of an underlying sense of confidence in the ability, just like we've been talking about. I don't think there's any question from anybody about the potential.
Yeah.
And anyway, just really impressive. One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is some questions here. Let me get to some of your questions. And Ken asked about the field. I thought the field held up really well.
It held up well. That's the only thing that held up in that stadium.
Yeah, we got a lightning strike that took sound system out. Part of the video.
It's ready for Friday night.
Yeah, I know, but it's aggravating. And it happens almost every year, and there's nothing you can do about it. But last year, Ken, at the end of the year, they added an additional set of those drainage tiles.
They did a ton of work, put drainage tiles in both end zones on the sidelines to go to those drains. But, I mean, the sidelines are going to be soaking wet because that's where everything drains to.
Right.
Yeah.
But man, has Matt and his crew done a fantastic job with that field.
And that has made such a huge difference in the condition of the field after a heavy rain, because you're not going to get any more heavy rain than we had last Friday.
Have you walked out there since Friday night?
I have not.
It is green.
Yeah.
You can't even tell. There's some spots on the white hashes, but other than that,
I don't know that I have.
Play on.
I don't know that I have ever seen that much rain in that short a period of time.
4.5 inches.
I mean, in like an hour.
Yeah,
it was.
Everything was underwater here.
Centralized. It was just so.
Just sat right on top of us. And the thing was, you drive 4 miles that way, and there wasn't nothing.
Yeah, high school had an inch of rain. We had 4 inches here.
Crazy. Okay, let's see here. Lakeisha asking where to drop the snacks off again first. Probably the front office. Can we see Pringle run out of the backfield in short yard set? Well, Coach, I don't know that that's a play. Ronald McCoy is asking if we'll see Pringle running out of the backfield in short yardage situations. But the thing is, Coach Rogers, he wants his 11 best guys on the field. Whatever the situation is, he wants the 11 best guys on the field. So if there's a situation where he feels like Pringle's going to best suit us running the ball out of the backfield, then you'll see him back there. But last week we saw Deuce Lawrence doing it.
Yep.
I mean, there's no question Ahmad Ponder could take that role and do it for sure.
AJ,
There's several
Carnage.
guys that can handle that.
But and I want to compliment Trey Pringle, because you're talking a guy there that was a star on the offensive side of the ball last year, being recruited as a receiver.
Yeah.
And just selflessly said, if you need me to play defense, that's what I'm going to do.
I'll do it.
And that's what a team is about. Let's see here. Dante Lee, we saw Jalen sitting in the pocket, running backs getting the edge. How sturdy is the O-line as far as opening holes up the gut? I don't think that's going to be a problem. Again, you've got Arden Korchigan down there at center, who's 6'5", about 325 or so. I don't think running up the middle is going to be an issue. Could be wrong.
Moves good.
But yeah, I think we'll be fine. Let's see here. Coaching changes for the season. That's worth mentioning. New defensive coordinator.
Yep.
And trying to remember who else was new tonight.
We brought in
wide
guy
receivers coach.
From Alabama.
That's right.
Yeah, he was talking about him playing. He played at Hawaii under June Jones when June Jones was the head coach over there.
That's the wide receiver coach and our defensive line coach from Troy. Played at Troy.
So there's some big ones there, but the big thing is, it tells you something when you have a Cam Clark who goes to coach at the collegiate level, and literally within a day, you've got the defensive coordinator from Ware County that had won the state championship in 2022 knocking on the door saying, I want to come.
Yeah.
That says something.
Let's go.
That says something. So I don't think the biggest thing is that Coach Rogers, they're going to adapt to his system because it works flat out.
That's right.
And these guys know that, and they're coming in saying, Coach, just show me where you need me, and I'll coach them up. And that's what we got. But it's a good situation, no question about it. Preseason rankings, I want to talk about a few of those, and because this is very impressive. Of course, this year, Milton is the top of the heap. Now, Milton was a junior-dominated. I tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of our 96 team, where we had Joe Burns and Leonard Guyton and all those, and they were all juniors. Milton is the exact same way. They have 9 D1 commitments, I think, potentially 11. It's almost stupid how much talent is on that team. The thing about Milton, though, that's interesting, last year when they ran up against teams that were stout defensively, they struggled. They lost a couple of games last year.
That Walton game was a very good game.
Yep. They will play Buford.
Opener.
2 weeks. And we'll know a lot about both of those teams after that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Buford's got
oh my gosh.
They've got 11 Power 5 guys that are committed.
Wow.
If they all sign scholarships, it would be the most D1 players off of one team in 1 year.
So you're talking between Milton and Buford, there's going to be 20 D1 guys on
almost enough to fill up the whole football field.
That's just
it's like the All-Stars.
That's just stupid.
Yeah.
But Sports Illustrated has got their Georgia rankings out, and Thomas County Central is ranked number 5 in the state overall. Milton, of course, is ranked number 1 in every poll as far as the state is concerned. Max Preps has Thomas County Central at number 34 in the nation. Pretty sporty. Number 6 in Georgia overall. Cal Preps has us at number 44 in the nation, number 6 in the state. And the Kasey Massey rankings, the Massey rankings, has us number 45 in the nation and number 7 in the state overall. So very impressive. I mean,
it's consistent.
Has nothing to do with me. Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm about to say, 'cause somebody was about to say, "Hey, why did you only put us at 45?" Yeah,
don't come after me.
That's why he didn't want the phone working. Coach Rogers to say something to him about it. But that's impressive. I mean, Thomas County Central, every one of the major polls ranked in the top 50 nationally. That's nationally now, like 12,000 high schools. That's pretty impressive. And ranked in the top 10 in all of those polls in our state overall. We're ranked number 2 in most of the 5A polls. I think the Maxwell rankings that will come out this week has us ranked 5 in the state. But I get that. I mean, preseason rankings and $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee at Waffle House.
They sell magazines.
I mean, that's it. It's a thing for fans to talk about and get worked up about. It's all based on what you did last year
and somebody's opinion about it. I mean, that's
Yep, that's exactly right. Lakeisha says you need to get out of there so you can go see your happy wife and have a happy life. That's going to happen. But the respect factor, guys, that's where I was headed with that.
Absolutely.
That's impressive.
I love it.
Oh.
It's where you want to be.
No, you're not going to see, after going through a season like you had, losing who you lost, you're not going to come out and be number 1 across the board. And honestly, I don't want to be number 1 across the board. I just
gives you something to play for.
Right. Gives you something to play for, and it's a building factor for sure. So I'm good with it.
See Mims.
Yeah, Ryan Mims says that Milton paid Kasey Massey to put them in number 1 with the Blizzards. You're right.
The Blizzards.
Speaking of that,
is
it about time for the ranking?
It's here. Now,
what was the question Ryan asked earlier? Ryan Mims. I can't. I tried to touch the screen here as if I could do that.
It doesn't work that way.
I know. I figured that out.
It's like a teleprompter.
Yes, Teddy Kearney. The games will be streamed. Toughest potential game before the playoffs. Golly.
There'll be a few.
There's going to be several of them. Now, let's say this, and there's no way around it. Monroe lost their preseason scrimmage to Sumter County 21-6. It was a 7-6 game with the varsity teams playing, and then I think they got Sumter County got an interception and a long touchdown pass with JV guys to make it 21. But Monroe did lose. Cairo lost to Irwin County. I think it was 20-0, if I remember right. Thomasville has got their scrimmage against Doherty tomorrow night. And I don't know about Florida High. Bainbridge struggled. They played Colquitt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Moultrie.
Yeah. And Colquitt pretty well manhandled them, from what I understand. So I don't know. It's kind of like looking at Lowndes. I mean, I don't know that you can judge Lowndes County based on what you saw the other night, because it's like a supercharged practice. Yeah. And you don't know who's experimenting with what in different combinations.
And you can't even touch the quarterback.
Yeah.
So there's that factored in.
I mean, everybody was talking about the fact that Jalen got quote-unquote sacked 3 times the other night. That means somebody touched him.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean he was sacked. The rules the other night was like a 2-hand touch game.
And looks like Florida High hasn't played. They played Friday.
They play tomorrow? Okay.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, most do get underway this week.
Yeah. Who do they play, Casey? Did it say?
Donnell? Something like that? Dunnellon.
Dunnellon.
Yeah.
Dunnellon.
At 7:30.
That's from down in Middle Florida. How do you say who's toughest between Cairo and Thomasville and Bainbridge and Florida High? I mean, Monroe can be tough. I mean, just depending on who shows up. They're going to be athletic. They always are. And just ask Cairo about Monroe. I mean, well, shoot, we've seen it.
Ask us about it.
I was going to say, we've seen it.
Yeah.
If you make them think they've got a shot at beating you, they'll beat you. I mean, that's just the way that's
let them
always
hang
worked.
around, and then
Right.
you'll get their best shot.
And I mean, Florida High competed for a state title last year.
Yep.
So I mean, I didn't play in the state title game, but went all the way to the quarterfinals, I believe. So I mean, they're good.
Yeah, we
They're
played
good.
them a couple of years ago down there, and they pretty well manhandled us.
But as far as if you're talking before the playoffs, the first game you're going to circle 3 times over is going to be the Lee County game because that's the first game of the region.
Yep.
You know,
man.
and that will set the tone for the rest of the region.
And, each one of the teams in the region, which is like the mini SEC, I mean, that's what I'm going to be calling it the whole year. Everybody has got something that they really feel good about.
Yeah.
I mean, Lee County, they lost almost everything on defense, but they went and got guys. They moved in a 4-star defensive lineman from Florida. And, of course, they've got Usmane Chroma, who is potentially the player of the year in the state of Georgia. He's the top-ranked running back in the state of Georgia. He was at our game the other night.
Yeah.
A bunch of the Lee County guys were there. Houston County has Antoine Hill, possibly the top quarterback in the state.
All 5 receivers back.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got Northside Warner Robins, which is Northside Warner Robins. They're always going to be good. And no, by the way, you got Coffee County at the end of the year that's the defending 5A state champions, and they feel really good about where they are. They won their scrimmage game the other night, so you better take advantage of those non-region games and get better. Bottom line.
All right, boys, it's time for the Hot Eats
Yes.
Cool Treats
Yeah.
DQ Blizzard of the Week.
The Jamie Majors Blizzard of the Week from DQ.
This one is frosted animal cookie or animal cracker blizzard.
Whoa. So
And
like
it beat last week.
Wow.
I'll tell you that.
It's already
Ain't
empty.
Yeah, it's empty. I can't even. I can't even act like I'm eating it here. Greg, you and your staff over there did do a great job, man. It's
probably Kyle.
man. Y'all need to
It's
go
his
by
fault.
there and
well, let's
man,
thank
it's
them.
so good.
Let's thank Dairy Queen. Again, this is the caramel latte, right? Is that correct?
It was.
Frozen. Golly, that doggone thing is good. And, of course, Blizzard. How was yours, Kasey?
Pretty good.
Is it gone?
No.
Half
It's
of it's in the mixer.
it's way sweet
Yeah, sweet.
for me.
The mixer even said it was good.
yeah, it said it was delicious.
But we appreciate Greg Davis and the folks at Dairy Queen sponsoring our SwarmCast. Go by there and get you one of the awesome frozen coffee drinks.
Ryan, tell them what to do.
Hey, get you some of that.
Go by there and get you some. Get you some.
Now, if somebody wants one of those shirts, what do they do?
Get with Stephanie Dennis. That's my NIL coordinator.
How do you have one of those? We don't have one yet.
You gotta, hey, you got to get you some of that. That's all I can tell you.
Go work in the warehouse.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, too, we want to mention that Paw Prints down on Jackson Street now has the official line of stuff as far as your game time gear. You can order. You can look online. In fact, I shared it on my Facebook page today. And they've got some really cool designs. And I want to thank Chris White. Chris does a fantastic job helping to design all that stuff. What is it?
Okay, Flim. Oh, Flim Flam.
Kenny Flim.
Jamie, what you got in that cup?
Let me tell you.
I can't tell you,
I
Flim.
can tell you. There's nothing.
I ain't tell you,
It's
Flim.
gone.
You know that upside down trick they show you when you pick up the Blizzard? When Jamie gets it, this is what I do with it. Greg, you see that? I hope you seen that. See, that's what I do to it when I get through it. It won't come out of the cup when they fix it. Now it's gone.
Well, I'm gonna tell you
Magic
one thing.
man.
With the heat and the humidity right now, there is nothing better than one of those cold. What do they call them? The ice treats from from Dairy Queen. Golly. Well, let's put it this way. All right, guys, here we are, a week out. How do both of you feel now as we start heading into an official game week? Brian, you start it now.
Okay. I feel like we got some questions answered Friday. You know, a little bit of question stuff, tight end stuff that we kind of had. We're kind of like, hey, where's this going to be? Or the offensive line for their first start. Really, I like where we're at. I feel like we're heading in the right direction. I think the more experience we get, the better we're going to be. And I feel like this schedule bodes plenty of opportunities for these young guys, these more inexperienced guys, to get the experience they need by the time we get to the region schedule. We'll be good. I'm excited about having the Jackets Nest filled all the way back up, horns blowing, everybody raring to go. because next week, hey, football season starts again. We're ready for it.
It's hard to believe. Jamie?
All I can say is season tickets are sold out.
Mm-hmm. Been sold out.
It's going to be an awesome year to be a Yellow Jacket. But I will tell you this, confidence breeds confidence. And after you get a big win against the Lowndes, even though they may be a little down,
it's still Lowndes
we don't
County.
know.
Yeah,
they might be better than we think.
Sure. You're right. You're right.
But I just think that we got a lot of new faces, and I think the more snaps these kids get and the more confidence they build, the more they get used to playing beside each other, and just all the little things start clicking. I think that we're going to be fine. I think it's going to be a great year, and go Jackets. I'm looking forward to being with y'all this year too, man. It's going to be awesome.
It's year 25, I think, for you, Jamie. Or I looked last year in the game program. Somehow or another, we had it written up as 22 last year. But I know you were at Thompson in 2002.
Yep.
And I know you had to have started before then.
I was cold.
It was very cold.
I don't know if we updated the whole thing last year. And I think it was just kind of used from the previous year.
I updated.
Did you?
Yeah, I updated.
Well, you spelled my name wrong.
That's
the same way you spelled it the year before.
I did not. I know better than that.
Oh, goodness.
So, is everything straight at the stadium, though, sound system-wise, Kasey? Are we good?
The only issue we got is one blown speaker, but it works. It's just not perfect, but it
kind of mumbling.
Yeah,
we can kind of
wait on some insurance stuff so we can get some stuff replaced. But it's at least all functional as long as it doesn't get hit by lightning again.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
Let me say this real quick too. Flag football. August the 12th, we'll have a player meeting at Thomas County Central in the afternoon, 2:20 in the afternoon. Chad Parkinson and that bunch. That's going to be fun to watch. Their first day of tryouts will be September 9. October 1st is their first game, and then October 22nd will be their first region game. Mm-hmm. Again, volleyball kicked off today against Valdosta. Softball defeated Thomasville 9-1 to get things started. Next Thursday night, we will be back here at 7 o'clock at regular time, and we will be previewing the Monroe Golden Tornadoes. And Ken Hortman saying, we got to get a new, bigger video board now, right?
We're not even going. Let's not go there tonight. That's a long, deep subject.
That's been discussed for years.
I'd like to have some subs.
To
go along with him.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. To rattle everything out there?
Yeah.
I got you. But next Friday night at the Jackets Nest, 7:30, Monroe comes in, and we'll get it started and see what happens. Of course, the SwarmCast will be on Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We'll talk to Coach Rogers again and get his thoughts specifically on Monroe. Now, next Friday, tailgate show will start at 5:30. We'll have interviews from folks from the high school. We'll be looking at all the schedules around the state and the region, and that'll start at 5:30, go until about 6:30. We'll be on live at the stadium around 6:30 or so. Now, next Friday also, we are going to induct and recognize the first two members of the Thomas County Schools Sports Hall of Fame. Herbert Christopher, who was the first NFL player drafted out of Thomas County, went to the San Francisco 49ers, I believe. He's going to be honored. That is Adam Choice's uncle.
Wow.
And also Joe Burns' uncle. How about that? Pretty good bloodlines. That ain't bad.
That's some good bloodlines.
And Johnny Yearby. Johnny Yearby was the starting quarterback for Coach Charlie Ward at Magnolia. Coach Ward had some really, really nice things to say about Johnny. He said that he was the glue that held the team together, and he loved coaching him because every time he played, he looked like Coach Ward when he played. So coming from Coach Ward, that's pretty high praise. But those two guys will be inducted into the Hall of Fame next Friday. And let me say this, too, to our fans that are watching. I had a gentleman this past week who brought a whole bag of memorabilia from the 90s. And he also had the newspaper, the Thomasville Times Enterprise newspaper from the day after we defeated Thomasville in 1976, all the coverage from that. The 1981 game that we defeated Thomasville 23-21 here, but game programs in pristine condition from the 92 state championship, the 93 state championship, sweatshirts and stuff that I'd never even seen them before. If you have got memorabilia, if you got helmets, if you got caps, jerseys, that sort of stuff, stuck away in a closet somewhere, and I guarantee you half of Thomas County does. That's the type of stuff that we're going to need to go into this Thomas County Sports Hall of Fame that's going to be a part of the new multipurpose building there on the campus. It will be displayed alongside video screens that will have the people who are the inductees into the Hall of Fame that will rotate. So the kids that are walking through the hallways are going to be literally learning about their own heritage athletically from all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. My son, Ransom, went to a yard sale 2 years ago and found a helmet from 1973, a cheerleader megaphone from the 75. I mean, all this really cool stuff. That's the type of stuff our kids need to be seeing, because the success that we're having right now is on top of the shoulders of those folks.
Any of the street signs that went missing?
Yeah, all you folks, yeah. All those state championship signs.
I know where a few are that are hidden around here.
That quote-unquote disappeared after they got put up back in 92 and 93 and 94 and 96, 97. Are the other ones still at the school?
I don't know what you're talking about, because somebody find out, they're going to try to find them.
Okay. So is that okay? Oh, that's a nod.
I'm not letting nobody know where they are.
Right. I know where they are. I'm just saying. Okay, but anyway, if
you've got in said location,
if you've got cool. If you've got stuff like that, though, I know Dan Stewart was telling me that he's got a practice jersey that came from Magnolia Junior High School when he was at Magnolia. That's cool. And again, our kids, these young kids, need to see all that, because that's part of who and what they are.
The Bucks,
100%. The Buccaneers. That was their mascot. But if you've got stuff like that, let me know. We'll somebody said go look for the signs in the Thomasville High School gymnasium. I don't know about that. But anyway, if you've got stuff like that, just keep it, and we'll talk about it, because that's the type of stuff that needs to be in there. And you don't have to just flat out donate it. If it's something that's even loaned, that's all cool too. Guys, it is 9:00, and it's time to go home.
Randy, happy anniversary.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Appreciate
Miss
that.
Reese, if you're listening, happy anniversary to you too.
Especially to her.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. You ain't kidding. Kasey, don't say a darn word.
We promise you'll have hot water tonight.
That's a good thing, too. All right, guys, we'll be back next Thursday. Folks, thank you all so much for watching and all the questions and comments. Always great. And it is time to tee it up and get it going on the 24 season. We'll get it going next Thursday night right here on the SwarmCast. Kasey, thank you as always. For Coach Rogers, for Brian, for Jamie, for Kasey, this is Randy Young. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you next week right here on the SwarmCast.